So yes, I've travelled back into Stewarton, the wonderful sleepy little town in Ayrshire, and there can only be one reason for that, and that's because Forgotten World. And it's been shut for a little while because it has expanded. Now I'm looking forward to seeing just exactly what they've done there, and I'm going to meet a couple of other people who are probably just as interested as me. So if you're interested to see what happens on my trip to Forgotten Worlds in Stewarton, you just wait until after. Now, as per normal, I will be showing these pickups in chronological order. I do, however, want to separate the Forgotten Worlds from the not Forgotten Worlds pickups, but that won't be a problem, and quite simply because I don't go to Forgotten Worlds to pick up modern games. So with that out of the way, let's get started with the first game that I picked up, and it's for the PlayStation 5, and that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, it's not a new game because it did come out on Xbox Series consoles back at the beginning of December last year, but it's just recently onto the PlayStation 5. I have, however, had this in, I've played it through, I've completed the game, and let me tell you, this is one of the best Indiana Jones stories you will ever watch. Now, by saying that, do I think the video game's any good? For the most part, yes. However, when it comes to the combat, I think it was kinda shoehorned in, the whole fist fighting thing, which is, to be fair, I mean, it was something that Indiana Jones was known for. He wasn't known for his gunplay, but to shoehorn as much of the fisticuffs into this game as they did, well, I think that was a mistake. I think if we'd have left it at stealth and maybe getting through the enemy camps without being detected, and maybe one or two boss battles when it came to the fist fights, it would have been absolutely fine. However, when it comes to the amount of fist fights that you get into in this game, and you really can't fire a weapon, because if you fire a weapon, you're going to end up swarmed by like 300 Nazis, and that's just no good. But Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, fantastic game, the graphics are solid, and the story is phenomenal. As I said, this would be one of my favourite Indiana Jones movies if it was made as a movie. As a game, it's definitely up there. It's not the greatest one that I've played this year, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it's worthwhile picking it up if you get the opportunity. So Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, great game. Shame about the combat, well, in my opinion anyway. It's into the collection now. It's been played, it's been completed, and I probably will try to play it again at some point, but it's here and it will remain here forever.
Let us hurry. There is nothing to fear here.
That's what scares me.
Next up, and still for the PlayStation 5, we have Mafia: The Old Country. Now, I'm a big Mafia franchise fan. I loved the first two games and I really enjoyed the third one. I know that's quite controversial because a lot of people didn't like the third game. For me, the third game with the big open world set in the late 60s, fantastic movie, plenty to do. Yes, I know some people thought it could get a bit repetitive, but the stealth in Mafia 3 is fantastic. Well, with Mafia: The Old Country, they're kind of winding it back to how it was in the first two games. It's much more story focused, it takes you from story beat to story beat. The performances are absolutely fantastic, I mean top-notch performances. The story, the graphics, everything that you want from an 8 to 10 hour game, and that's what this is. And thankfully Take-Two have released this at not a AAA title price. It's a reasonable price, it's definitely worth paying for what you get in this game. And if you like the Mafia games, then jump into this one because it's absolutely phenomenal. So that's Mafia: The Old Country, coming into the collection. It's been played through and it will definitely get played through again because the story is worth experience more than once.
You still get your share. Besides,
How do we do this? You take the one on the right, by the well. I'll take the one on the left. Got it. You take the lead. We'll see if your shoveling days really are behind you.
Something out.
sì, tutto bene.
Next up, and still with the PlayStation 5, we have 2 Point Museum coming into the collection. Now, I am a big fan of the 2 Point games. 2 Point Campus, 2 Point Hospital, absolutely love them. I knew I was going to be picking up 2 Point Museum as soon as it came out, and of course I did. Now, the main reason for that is that I loved the theme park and theme hospital games back in the 90s. Now, the humour isn't quite as Generation X, as I would like to call it, in these games, because humour does change from generation to generation. There is enough of that humour in the 2 Point games, and 2 Point Museum certainly has enough in it to scratch that itch. I've played a good chunk of this so far. It's not letting me down like the other two didn't let me down. Happy to have it here. This is one of those games that's going to be in the collection forever, and I'm going to dip in and dip out all of the time, just when I want a break from a big story game. But 2 Point Museum into the collection, where it will remain forever, and it will get played a lot. Next up, and still for the PlayStation 5, we have The Thing Remastered Deluxe Edition. Now, The Thing, of course, is a remaster of an older game, a PlayStation 2 era game. It's a game that I have for the PlayStation 2 that's sitting in my PlayStation 2 backlog. But the thing that I love about The Thing being remastered is I don't need to go through the faff of setting up the PlayStation 2 and playing it on that. This is just pop into the PlayStation 5, which is always hooked up and ready to go, and I can experience this game. Now, I have played a little bit of it, and played a little bit of it because I need to get some gameplay footage for this video, obviously, and it's everything that I hoped it would be so far. I'm not going to jump straight back into it because it's not high on the get completed list, but it's certainly got enough in there to bring me back and finally get this off the backlog. Don't know whether I'll go back and play the PlayStation 2 original, but with having this one into the collection, it's absolutely wonderful to be able to play it when I want, and here it is now. I'm sure plenty of people have played The Thing, but it's in my collection now, where it will remain forever and ever.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Yes, sir.
Next up, we're going to be moving down a generation and onto the PlayStation 4, and the first game that I picked up for the PlayStation 4 is a Disney classic game collection featuring The Jungle Book, Aladdin and The Lion King. Now, of course, this was a collection of games that I was going to pick up much earlier. It only had 2 of the games on in its first release. It's had the 3rd one added. I can't quite remember which one got added, but one got added anyway. And the reason I picked this up is, well, I'm an old gamer and I do like going back to 16-bit and even 8-bit gaming. This has 3 classic titles on it, well worth anyone's money, and it's just the ease of play to be able to pop this into a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5. Get that 16-bit itch scratched and away you go. I've already spent some time with each of these games. Some are my favourites, some are not. I mean, I do quite like Aladdin. I certainly like it a lot more than The Lion King, and maybe The Jungle Book in the middle. But it's in the collection now. It's games that I'll play over and over again, and hopefully one day I'll be able to complete The Lion King. But until now, it's in the collection where it will remain forever, and hopefully get The Lion King completed. Next up, and still for the PlayStation 4, we have Neo 2 Special Edition. Now, anyone who knows me knows I don't really get on with Souls-like games, but as you can see with this one, it's not just because of the game that I bought it, it's quite simply because it's a steelbook, and we all know I do like a good steelbook, even if I don't enjoy the game that comes with it. I'm sure one day I will be able to sit down with Souls games and maybe get good, but until now, the only reason I'm probably going to buy a Souls game, even one as popular as Neo, is because it comes in a nice special edition steelbook. It is, however, in the collection now, and I'm sure someone in the comments will berate me into playing these games, because I do try to pride myself on the fact that I'm a gamer, not a collector. So if you want to do that, drop down to the comments, tell me to play Neo or Neo 2, and not just have it as a shiny steelbook in the collection where it will remain forever. Next up, we're moving down a generation again, and it's onto the PlayStation 3, and this is the last of the Not Forgotten Worlds pickups. And for the PlayStation 3, I picked up a game that I already have multiple copies of, and that is Final Fantasy X, X-2, but this one, as you can see, is a nice sealed one. Now, I don't go for sealed, and this will probably get unsealed unless there's someone out there that really wants a sealed copy of it, because I hate games to be sealed. A sealed game does not go to game heaven when it dies, because it's never been played. It's as simple as that. It was nice to see a sealed copy of this out there in the wild, and it was absolutely dirt cheap. It cost me about £6, I believe, and there was no way I was going to pass up a sealed copy, just in case maybe someone wants a sealed copy of this game, or maybe I want the pleasure of unsealing yet another sealed game. But Final Fantasy X, definitely one of the best Final Fantasy games. It's definitely the last true Final Fantasy game on this nice sealed edition here, into the collection, where it will get saved as a sealed one by someone else. I hope not, or you know what, I'll probably just open it on camera one day. But it's in my collection now, and its fate is in my hands.
You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
So that was the last of the modern games, or at least what some people would class as modern games, and I'm moving on to the retro stuff that I bought at Forgotten Worlds. And we're going to start with the PlayStation 2, and the first game that I picked up there was Ark Twilight of the Spirits. Now obviously this comes from the Ark the Lad series. I have played a little bit of this, I think due to having access to it on PlayStation Premium, some service like that. I've never owned the game. I don't think I've owned any of the Ark games before. I remember playing them again through probably services that you pay through PlayStation, and that's it, that's all I know about them. I do like a good RPG, especially a JRPG, and I'm sure this will be right up my street. I will batter this in just to test the disc and get some gameplay footage, and I'm sure I'm going to love this. But Ark Twilight of the Spirits into the collection, where it will remain forever and probably get played to completion not too long from now. So in there.
Here we go! Oh wind, grant my sword the power of justice! Fang Breaker Blade!
Next up, and still for the PlayStation 2, I did manage to get a copy of Grandia 3. Now, all the eagle-eyed out there will notice that yes, it's got the teen rating down there, so this is a US copy. Of course it's a US copy because it was only released in Japan and North America. We didn't get a copy over here in PAL land. But fortunately, these days, with modern technology and friends in Canada who will send you an NTSC PlayStation 2, it means I can finally get round to playing some of the games that weren't released over here in Scotland. This one was high on the list to pick up, and the eagle-eyed might know that this is not an official box. The box art's official, the manual's official, the discs are official. I just need to source a new proper PlayStation box to pop this in. But I'm dying to play this as I love Grandia and I absolutely adore Grandia 2. And now I get a chance to see if Grandia 3 can keep my Grandia love alive. But it's in the collection now with its lovely shiny cover, where it will remain forevermore and definitely get played, I would imagine, very soon. Next up, we're moving right down the generations onto the 8-bit generation and away from Sony because I picked up an NES game, a Nintendo game, and that's quite shocking for me, but when I saw Solstice out there, I had to buy it. And the reason I had to buy this is this harkens back to my 8-bit journey. Back in the 80s, I was playing on a ZX Spectrum, and there was a lot of games of this style for the ZX Spectrum, and by that I mean it's one of those isometric puzzle platformers that you didn't really see on consoles. I do, however, have good friends across the pond who have played this game on their channels, and as soon as I saw it I said that's exactly the type of game that I would be playing in the mid-80s, and I need to get it at some point. Well, I've got it now. Solstice, coming into the collection, my meagre NES collection, where it will remain forever and it will definitely get some playthrough. I hope I can still remember how to jump at angles, because anyone who's played those isometric puzzle platformers know the biggest problem with them is knowing which way is up, which way is right. But I'm sure I will. Muscle memory will kick in, I hope, and I'll get my way through Solstice. So into the collection and it will get played, as all of the games that I pick up get played anyway, but it's here now and I'll get it done. Next up, we're of course staying with the 8-bit because there's not much further you can go down, and there's no Sony in the 8-bits, but my true love, the ZX Spectrum from back in the day. I did pick up some ZX Spectrum games, and the first one I'm going to show you is The Ninja Warriors. Now this wasn't a game that I played back in the day, and you know what? I still haven't played it at the moment. Any gameplay footage that you see will be recorded directly after recording, showing you the games. The reason that I picked this up, and I think you can guess, is that box art is absolutely fantastic. It's so 80s, it's making me want to make a time machine and go back to the actual decade. Now, as I said, haven't played it, don't know if it plays well or not, and if you know if it plays well, let me know down in the comments. And I'm sure, being a a Taito game, that this was an arcade game, probably, most likely. And if you know anything about the arcade game, let me know about that in the comments as well. But the Ninja Warriors coming into the collection, not for nostalgia reasons, purely for that glorious 80s ninja box art. But it will get played, no doubt about that. Next up, and stuff for the ZX Spectrum, is a game I have a lot of nostalgia for, and it is Trash Man. Now, you take a look at that box art, you know exactly what you're getting. You're a trash man, a garbage man, a bin man, call it what you want. It's an old 8-bit game, it probably runs on 16k of memory, and what you do is, you run your little stick man up a street, collecting the garbage cans, putting them into the bin lorry, and moving on to the next house and trying to complete them all before you run out of time. Pretty much like Paperboy. Anyone who's played Paperboy, this is like a very early Paperboy, but I absolutely love this game. I've played it tons, I will play it tons again, but I had to get it physically into the collection, and is that not the most rubbish box art you've ever seen? But it's glorious and will stay in the collection forever. Forever. Amen. Next up, and still for the ZX Spectrum, another game that I have a lot of nostalgia for, and I'm sure a lot of people out there do. It's Hyper Sports, which was basically Track and Field 2, I believe. But Hyper Sports, this was my favourite of the whole athletic ones back in the day, well, back in the 80s anyway. Not until probably the PlayStation released International Track and Field, this was still my favourite at that point. It is very simple. It is a keyboard killer if you play on the keyboard, and of course it's a joystick killer if you play with a joystick, waggling your joystick like fury. But I absolutely love it. Hyper Sports, didn't have a physical copy in the collection. I've got this nice clamshell one now. It will sit on the shelf quite nicely, and it gets played on a regular basis anyway, Hyper Sports, because yes, I can play it through emulation. But now it's nice to have that physical Hyper Sports into the collection, where it will remain forever and will remind me of the glory days of the 80s. Next up and last up is still for the ZX Spectrum, and it is R-Type. Now this is a game that I'm highly nostalgic for. It's a game that I played back in the arcades. It's one of my all-time favourite vertical shooters, and it's just one of my all-time favourite games. Now on the ZX Spectrum, this plays absolutely beautifully. Yes, there's better ways to play it. You can play it through MAME with the arcade emulation. You can play it on the Master System, which is another wonderful port. And of course you can play it on, there's plenty, there's no need to go on about R-Type. R-Type, however, on the ZX Spectrum is absolutely phenomenal, and I recommend anyone who loves the game, if you haven't played the ZX Spectrum port, certainly get that played. because this is a wonderful port for what is essentially a 48K machine, an 8-bit machine that only had 48K of memory to run this wonderful game. So that is the last one coming into the collection from Forgotten Worlds, but it will be here forever and forever cherished. So there you go, my friends, that was my journey into Stewarton to see the wonderful Forgotten Worlds now that it's been expanded, and what a wonderful place it is. If you haven't been, I recommend highly that you go there if you get the chance. Ayrshire's a wonderful place in the country or in Scotland for you to come and visit. If you don't live in Scotland, just come and see Ayrshire, go and see Forgotten Worlds. Of course, the pickups there. Any games in there that you absolutely love, any games that you want fired into the sun and forgotten forever, will you let me know, because interaction between you and me, well, that's what makes YouTube special. It does for me anyway. Thank you very much for watching as always, and until next time, of course, cheerio.